Marvel Legends began in 2002, evolving with pop culture trends, costume materials, and advancements in engineering, not to mention a significant change of ownership, which resulted in a clear delineation between two eras. The Toybiz era, which lasted from 2002 to 2006, introduced many of the concepts that Hasbro has refined from 2006 through today. When ranking all of these figures, it seems unfair to judge Toybiz offerings that are now at least 10 years old against the stuff coming from Hasbro since they took over, especially when we're not talking about the best that either era has to offer. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the 10 worst Hasbro Marvel Legends. I never know if the worst list should count up or count down. Number 10, Speed Demon and Silvermane. I'll admit this one is borderline. If you randomly pitch the idea of Silvermane, a character who is essentially a disembodied head attached to a remote control car, you would probably hold my attention for a bit while I thought about what that would look like and how it would actually work. I tend to be a fan of action figures as objects more than what they represent within their mythology, so Silvermane is no more ridiculous a concept than a snake monster who has a tail made up of 7 additional snakes, or a blue and white space trash can with legs. R2-D2 trash can jokes good since 1977. But when that disembodied head is an accessory for a character that is basically just a Marvelized version of the Flash from DC Comics, it's all a bit underwhelming. It's a great tip of the cap to die-hard Marvel fans, but only if you're a die-hard Marvel fan and are in on the jokes, which I'm not. Number 9 is Cosmic Iron Man. It's as solid as every other Iron Man figure in the line, sure, but a nicely sculpted, well-articulated figure based on a design that is just... Look, I don't want to say it's bad, that's not the point. It's adequate as far as a robotic-looking mech suit type of sci-fi armor goes. But there's a certain aesthetic that goes with Iron Man and Stark Tech, just like Ford or Chevy. There are notes to the designs that cue you to which brand it is, even if all the identifiable badges have been removed. A good car designer could look at a concept that no one has ever seen before and tell you what brand it belongs to based on those design hallmarks. Other than the colors, this suit doesn't look like Iron Man, it doesn't look like Stark Tech, and I don't know what crowns on his shoulders have to do with space travel. Number 8, Hulkbuster Wave Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has worn a couple of different outfits since his debut in 1963. The outfit on this figure was featured prominently in the comics, but the idea of a Doctor Strange figure without his cloak of levitation is questionable at the very least. And while the argument could be made that this figure is accurate and he does come with magical power accessories, Hasbro went ahead and re-released the same figure just a year later with his cloak, proving that there was no reason for this one to ever exist in the first place other than to stick it to fans, because I assure you, any place that sells Marvel Legends still has the Hulkbuster Wave in stock. $20 just to get a Hulkbuster leg. Number 7, that Nick Fury Red Skull Punisher long jacket-wearing body. As many times as it's been used, it's never worked. The first time it was used was on a Nick Fury figure in 2008. It was most recently used on a Nick Fury figure in 2015. It still has the old Toybiz era hips, and the way the sleeved arms are sculpted, they contact with the holes in the jacket and the armpit area and completely prevent the figure from being able to lower his arms in a normal, standing, relaxed position. His crunch isn't a crunch, and those damn hips, they have almost no range of movement. It's a nice looking coat, I get why they use it, but it seems like it's time to revisit it with a new body and stop trying to squeeze another dollar from the design. Number 6, Blizzard. First of all, I'm not convinced that this isn't a character called Snowstorm that I created in 7th grade. Considering that Blizzard first appeared in Iron Man comics before I was born, I guess it's possible that we both came up with the same generic idea a few decades apart. Marvel Legends tends to be light on villains, so yeah, throw some bad guys in there, and sure, his costume designs tend to be pretty generic, so a straight repaint makes the most financial sense. But without any accessories or costume attachments, without a more compelling design or backstory, this is about as uninspiring as Marvel Legends can be. Number 5, 2006 White Queen, and pretty much all female figures until about 2013. Most action figure lines are light on female characters, although in recent years those lines directed specifically at adult collectors have started to balance out the ratios. For a line like Marvel Legends aimed at mass retail, it's generally a 5-to-1 male to female if we're lucky. And in the early days of the Hasbro era, molds were still being carried over from the Toybiz era, which even after 4 years really hadn't locked down a female design that wasn't gangly and awkward. White Queen from the Annihilus Build-A-Figure wave, Hasbro's first Marvel Legends wave, is an unfortunate place to start from, but they could only go up from there. Ugly oversized joints, weird proportions, distorted anatomy, heels that made it impossible for them to stand. Hasbro would tweak the design for the next 7 years before finally starting from scratch with a new female body figure that is still in use in 2016. Number 4, Banshee. All due respect to his legacy as one of the oldest X-Men related characters, but ugly costume, terrible power. No group of kids has ever been at the park playing superheroes and said, "I have the power of super screaming," even though they all do. Super screaming isn't even in the top 10. It goes 10 shape-shifting, 9 healing factor, 8 laser eyes, 7 X-ray eyes, 6 speed, 5 telepathy, 4 telekinesis, 3 invisibility, 2 super strength, and 1 flight. Super Screaming is like number 34, right behind Understand Every Language, but ahead of Regenerative Carrot Fingers. I couldn't decide if I should go with carrot or chocolate. I went with carrot. Carrot's funnier. The only time he was ever cool was in X-Men First Class, and I still don't see any figures from that series. Number 3, Ultimate Wolverine. Hey, look. The good thing is Ultimate Wolverine died in 2009, and anything that was left of him was erased from existence in the big collision of worlds that merged parts of the Ultimate Universe into the Marvel Universe proper in 2015. That's the good thing. That he's dead. Number 2, Toxin. The whole symbiote thing was out of control after Carnage. Adding more symbiotes in different colors with different stories and origins that are all not really that different just diluted the concept even further. Toxin is the embodiment of that overdone, mishmashed idea in action. None of the pieces on the figure look like they were made intentionally for him. In fact, he looks like they were trying to make a Carnage figure, but lost the mold, so they just poured whatever plastic was on hand into a mold they were about to use for Venom, and just sprayed the thing with whatever colors were near the spray station, and then everyone left because it was Friday, and Friday night is karaoke night. And then they shipped him. And at number 1, 2008 Twin Pack Series 1, Wolverine. It's Wolverine in the Jim Lee version of the blue and gold X-Men graduation or default uniform, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, in 2008, Hasbro was still working with an older style of body construction with those awkward ball joint hips, and it was long before Hasbro figured out claws that didn't show up a warped, bendy mess every single time. Hasbro did include an alternate set of hands with retracted claws and 2 different heads for a scowling mouth-closed look and a super screaming mouth-open look, both of which are so poorly executed that they look like they were taken off of Toybiz figures from the 90s. Sick burn! You'll never recover from that! In fact, that was the last time Hasbro attempted that costume, and they never made another Wolverine figure until 2 months later. Those are the 10 worst Hasbro Marvel Legends. Hasbro has put out a lot of really great products since acquiring the line in 2006 and looks poised to continue to push the line into the future, very slowly responding to the demands of their ever-aging adult collector base and the changing conditions of global markets. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a like, subscribe, and share it everywhere. I know a lot of Banshee fans are probably really upset that I included him on the list, but let us know in the comments who you think should have been there. Remember, this is the Hasbro era, 2006 Annihilus wave through today. The absolute worst Marvel Legends figures from any era have to be any female figure built on that 2003 Elektra body. My goodness, what a nightmare of a thing. But also 12 years old and just not fair to compare with stuff that came out in 2016. But yikes. They're terrible.